Being alone with gender dysphoria is not an easy thing. It can be very difficult. You can feel very isolated, and often this is how it is for me. I like to be alone, but at the same time, you can still feel lonely. You can feel like no one understands you, and that's very hard. It's not only hard with gender dysphoria, it's just hard with trying to be your most authentic self in general. When you're trying to drop all the mask and you're trying to be yourself, be who you really are inside, I find that it's quite a challenge, because most people in my life experience, from what I've seen, they are wearing masks. Some more than others, some are more conditioned than others, but most people aren't living their true authentic life. So when you decide you want to do that, you can find yourself spending a lot of time alone. I cannot imagine going through gender dysphoria with a partner or with children, though I know people have done it and there have been people do it successfully. I just have not been in that experience. I could not imagine, like, say you live with somebody, and maybe some of you watching can speak to this, but you find out that you've been repressing something like gender dysphoria throughout most of your life, like I had, and one day you finally have had enough and you just start letting yourself feel through it. That's what happened to me in 2021, but I lived here alone, and I was able to just freely start letting myself feel through it in ways and experiment with things without having to worry about children or a partner or how that would affect them. So I'm sure it's really difficult if you live with somebody or married to somebody, have children or anything like that, or even if you're roommate with somebody or you live in a place with other people that see you every day, and you would probably have a harder time still not repressing it. You would still want to repress it because you don't want it to come out around other people. So I did have the privilege in being here alone to let it out. But what happened was friendships I've had, some for many years, I've let go of because they would not only, or I'm getting tongue-tied, they would not accept me for who I am, not just the gender dysphoria, but just for dropping the mask I've dropped and being my real self. There's just different things about me that in those friendships would not be accepted, and we would not relate anymore. And that's what happens when you start embracing who you really are and you start working on yourself, you start working on your nervous system, you start exploring what your actual beliefs are and expressing them to people, expressing them when they're challenged. You're going to find that it's harder and harder to resonate with different people. But now I will say, when you do find one or two or three or whatever that do, it's a lot more rewarding, because you know that it's a genuine friendship or there's a genuine camaraderie going on there. When you do find that, when you can be yourself with somebody and you can express your feelings and you all can agree to disagree on some things, but you're still friends and you're both honest with each other, that goes a really long way and is a lot more productive. So what I would say is, if you're on a journey to, say you're dealing with gender dysphoria and you're expressing yourself, you're being honest with yourself, maybe you have a form of mental illness like depression or bipolar, or maybe a personality disorder or something like that you're dealing with, and you're expressing yourself truly, you're helping yourself, maybe you're going to therapy, you're almost 100% going to lose people in your life, and just be prepared for that. Because if you try to keep associating with those old acquaintances, those old friends that don't relate to you, or they criticize what you're doing for yourself, or they criticize you being authentic, or criticize you for embracing who you really are, if they try to throw religious programs on you or tell you you're going to burn in some hell for what you're doing or whatever, when it's just you expressing your emotions and feelings of what you're really about, if you try to keep associating with them, what's going to happen is you will eventually shrink back, and you will eventually go back into the cave you were in, and you'll keep those friendships at great cost to your own emotional and mental well-being, and likely your physical health. I've found that when you're not embracing yourself and you're masking all of the time, it also affects your physical health. I know it has with me. It's affected my stomach, and I've had ulcers before. And I found the more I work on myself, the more that stuff eases up. And the more present I am. I've been working on presence more lately, just being in the present moment, not being in the future, not being in the past. I've been working on that more. It can be a challenge, but the more I do it, I find when I'm in that present moment, it's very peaceful, blissful, and I try to do that when I go to sleep now, and I sleep better if I'm able to accomplish that. If I get myself into a present moment with no thoughts of the future, no thoughts of the past, I find that I also have better sleep. So since 2021, and going through all I've went through, and in the last year and a half going to therapy, I still find myself lonely. I still find myself challenged, especially by everything I go through, especially by gender dysphoria, because I have a yo-yo with it, and I some days so much want to take HRT and just bite the bullet and say, okay, let's just transition, because it can torment me, and it can, even though I know for me, I've spoke about this in past videos, it's past life related. I believe in reincarnation. I believe it's past life related. I believe in that past life I was traumatized as a woman, but I still, regardless of knowing that and trying to integrate it into this life as a male, I can still have strong desire to just want to be female or to be a trans woman. Not that I would ever think or presume I'm just going to be a true female in this life. No, I could get close to it, is how I would look at it, with hormones and facial hair removal, some simple things anyway. I could probably get pretty close to it. But I guess the point of this is I still, knowing it's past life related, still knowing that that came from trauma from that lifetime, I still go through torment with it at times. Not all the time. Sometimes it's milder. But that's for me, that's why it's so hard, because it's a yo-yo. I believe people that have it severe, like all the time severe, they probably have an easier decision with just saying, okay, I'm transitioning. This is too much. Or people that have it mild all the time, it's no big deal to them. They may play around with putting on some makeup and things here and there or whatever, but they can live with it because it's always mild. For me, sometimes it's mild and sometimes it's really strong. Lately, I've had more days of it being strong. And I've been trying to integrate it. I mean, I even do, I do semen retention, and tomorrow will be 90 days, which for someone that does that practice is a milestone. I've done it before once. I've reached, I think, right over 100 days one other time. But tomorrow will be 90 days. Second time I've been able to achieve that, and thought, well, maybe that will keep it mild. Really hasn't, though. That's what's interesting. What semen retention has done for me is gave me stronger meditative energy and stronger psychic awareness. It's let me tap into source energy. You could refer to that as God if you want, though I've stated before I don't look at source as a judging entity or something like that. It's where we incarnate from. But it is a loving energy from my experience of meditating and tapping into it. Semen retention is like, gives me so much more power to easily tap into that and tap into nature and tap into presence. So I try to just utilize what I have in this male body to my benefit, and I was trying to use that to integrate the female past life, but I still find it very challenging and often still find myself wanting to live as a woman. So yesterday I went to therapy. It had been 2 weeks. Lately I've been going every other week, and I see my therapist Winnie, which I've been seeing. This might be the 4th or 5th visit I've seen her. And we talked mostly about this subject because it's been what's been pressing on me the most lately, even though I deal with depression and I'm dealing with trying to see where I can work again, things like that, going through another, I call these death cycles too. Like when we go through change, we go through changing our timeline. There are things that have to pass out of our life through a death cycle so we can have rebirth into new cycles, new timelines. I'm going through that again right now. But we talked about mostly gender dysphoria because it's what's been plaguing me the most. And we talked about the past life, but Winnie said something to me that I got emotional because she said, well, I know you're trying to, she pretty much, not in exact wording, but she was like saying, I know you're trying to integrate, put the two together, you now with that past life. She said, but I can see where it's distressing you. She's looking at me and she's like, I can see where you're distressed, and I want to know what we can do to alleviate this dysphoria, because you're having to live now, even though I know you're trying to put the two together. You're having to live now and deal with this, and she's pretty much telling me she could see I'm having a hard time. She can feel it and see it on me. And I got emotional, and I have to pay attention to that. I almost cried, and I did the last time I saw her too, because we talked again about when I saw Sabine, and I've spoke many times how close I was to Sabine, and we spoke about that too. And I said, she knows that history now. And she said, well, you lost the opportunity to go to that group that she set up for you. There was a chance for me to go to a group with other people that were gender dysphoric or they were trans. I couldn't go because of work, and my car had issues at the time. Then HRT was taken away when I was very close to starting it, because of the current administration took away funding for places like where I go for them to do it. So that was taken off the table. I could still do it, but generally it costs quite a bit of money to do. So that was taken off the table, and then Sabine had to leave because her partner had a new job and she had to move. So I went a month after that with no therapy and just decided, you know what, those things all fell apart. So I was like, you know what, let me really just try to integrate this. I had watched another spiritual teacher, The Alchemist, Sarah L. Caldy, I think that's her name. She has a big YouTube channel, and she's the only person I've seen talk about how she integrated her gender dysphoria. she had thought of transitioning to be a male, and she knew of her past life as a male, and she decided to integrate that past life trauma and past life stuff that was carried over into her current lifetime, and she successfully did that. She's the only person I found that's really talked about this specific subject, dealing with gender dysphoria from a past life. I already knew about my past life, and I was searching for something to do about it, and that's when I ran across her video about it, because I was searching for somebody to talk about it. It's just, I know it's kind of an obscure subject to find. So I thought, okay, let me try to integrate it. And then my new therapist, Julie, we just didn't click. She didn't seem to take any interest in what I was really going through. And that's how I ended up with Winnie. And Winnie had told me yesterday too, she said, I'm glad you advocated for yourself and realized you needed someone else to help you. And she looked at me again and she said, I know I can never replace Sabine, and I know you all had a special relationship, but I would love to continue her work. And that affected me emotionally, because she saw me. I could look at her and tell she could see me, and that's how Sabine could see me, and kind of see inside me, connect with me to some degree. And Winnie said, I would like to be able to continue her work. So after that session, I was really emotional, and I was thinking about all I'm going through right now, and this new timeline I'm on, and how I've been trying to integrate this. And I hadn't slept well in the last day. I think because I had some of this on my mind. I finally got some sleep yesterday. I was starting to feel ill from not sleeping because I got so emotional over this. So today I had better sleep, and I got up, and I'm in a much better presence and mindset, and decided I wanted to wear makeup today. I've been feeling really feminine, but I'm still frustrated, and I still feel very alone. And this is something Winnie talked to me about too, because I haven't really thought about that I have regressed since seeing Sabine in ways. Sabine had me feeling confident more through all the work I did with her. I was working on myself with my confidence more. I was going out without my hat and keeping my hair down like now, and I was wearing foundation. I was experimenting more with some things that I would want to do. But after Sabine left, after I lost the group, and the possibility that I was going to start HRT, I've been going out just with my cap. I've been doing productive things. I've been going to the park. I run at times. I eat generally well, except for ice cream. I've talked before how I can eat a lot of ice cream. But in general, overall, I don't eat a ton of calories, and I eat mostly healthy. But so I've been taking care of myself mostly in general. I have a caffeine addiction too. I mean, that's my other main vice is coffee. Strong black coffee, and chocolate ice cream. But I've mostly gotten away from corn. I used to have a bad lust addiction in that would keep me dissociated a lot. I still deal with lust a lot, and I'm not saying lust is bad. It's normal for us to feel it and want connection, but I just try not to go too far into it, because there are other things I'm working on to try to improve my life. And I know for myself, if I get too far in the lust rabbit hole, then it can totally dissociate me. it messes with my dopamine and things like that. So I've tried to keep that kind of curbed. But that is something else I still struggle with, especially on semen retention. Your vitality gets so strong. I mean, the sexual vitality is so strong with me. That's another reason why it's good to do this. I'm 50 years old, and I mean, I've got vitality that is super strong, incredibly strong. I would say it's at least early 20s level for me. Almost, I mean, I would venture to say levels around when I was 18 or 19, and that's from when you do long streaks of semen retention, you can restore. Definitely, I see the proof of doing this practice off and on for so long. You can restore your vitality and get a lot of power out of it for a lot of things. So that's something else just to throw out there too for men who struggle with that. Don't let age deter you. If you can have discipline to hold your seed, you can restore. As long as you haven't done a tremendous amount of damage to yourself, you can restore it. I'm convinced because I've done it for myself. But in any case, the therapy session just brought up a lot of emotions, and I realized I had at least repressed emotions. I'm not sure how I feel about, have I actually regressed a lot? Probably a little bit, but at the same time, I'm confused on that because I still feel like there's still this part of me that wants to integrate it. It feels like my soul may really have intended that for this lifetime, to come in as a male to try to integrate some of that trauma I went through as a female, because from what I saw and what I got out of that life from past life regression was SA and a lot of trauma. I feel like she worked in the adult industry, but I feel like she also dealt with a lot of abuses in that. And then I feel like her life just was over tragically without any fulfillment. So I feel like my soul may have come into this life as a male, because if I'd have been a female again, I know from my childhood, I was around a lot of seedy characters. I think I stated this in my last video, but I was around a lot of people that could have abused me again if I had been a girl. I think it's very possible. So it makes sense to me in a way why my soul would say, let's try being a male in this life. But it's still, the problem is I have desire, I have feelings being in this body, and even though I try to integrate it, try to pull it together, I have started to think I may not be able to do it. So I'm still thinking about it. I'm still, Winnie asked me some good questions. What holds me back? I think it's medicine too. I feel like to really pass, you don't have to pass. That's not something everyone has to do. I feel like I would want to for my own safety and to fit in. But to do that, I feel like you need the estrogen, you need the HRT to really help. That's something you have to take the rest of your life. And but then again, I thought maybe don't start with that. Maybe go get facial hair removal. I mean, don't even start with that. Go see how you feel about. There's programs. Apparently a program or two out there that'll help you with that. I found that out through talking to Trans Lifeline. So there's all these things I'm going through, guys, and I just share them with you. I don't have a clear answer as to what I'm doing. But this is what I've been going through lately. Maybe some of you can relate. Maybe you can't. I don't know. And anyway, we'll see what's going to happen. I don't go back to therapy, though, for a month because of the way there's Christmas break at my therapy office, and then when that's over, appointments are backed up. So I'm scheduled out a month, I'll probably try to get an earlier appointment if a cancellation comes open. And sometimes when I have a gap like that, if I'm really feeling really dysphoric, I do call Trans Lifeline. It helps fill in a gap if I'm really dysphoric. I'll tell you what I really hope for, though. I have to be honest, I don't want this. I've said before, I can't see anybody wanting gender dysphoria. It's debilitating. It's not something I want, it's not something I want to deal with, but it's here, I feel it. I just have to take it day to day and I deal with it as best I can. So I'm gonna probably still try to integrate it, but that's all I can really say on the subject for now. And I guess that's all I have for this video. I'll talk to you guys later on. Bye.